A question I get from a lot of people is just how do I balance language learning with life? They have this goal of learning a language, and you probably do really want to learn the language you're learning, but unfortunately life gets in the way. Sometimes you feel demotivated, sometimes you're busy, sometimes you procrastinate, etc. So in this video, I'm going to talk all about how to balance language learning with life. I'm going to talk about what I do, and I'm going to give you some actionable steps to make it easier for you. So definitely stick around until the end for all of that good value, and let's go. So here is the problem straight away, just to make sure we are on the same page. And it's not actually the problem, it's the symptom of a bigger problem. So here is you have this goal, which is probably to learn whatever language you're learning. Maybe it's multiple languages, just insert whatever your goal is. And then of course you're attempting to learn a language. That's how you're going to bridge the gap between now and the goal. Unfortunately, life kind of gets in the way. And what I mean by life is that you're busy, or you're demotivated, you're procrastinating, you're disorganized, anything like that. All of those things kind of come under the umbrella term of life just getting in the way of your goals. And that's really frustrating. Nobody likes that. But how do we actually solve it? Well, you're in the right place because you're trying to solve it. Here is what the real problem is. The real problem is actually to do with balance. And balance is an interesting word because when you think balance, you probably think of like a scale with two even sides, like the two sides. I think I had it on the front. Something like this, where the scale is actually even. That's not actually what balance is when it comes to productivity. Balance doesn't mean 50-50. Everyone has their own form of balance. So some people's form of balance might be one day of studying, one day not of studying, one day of studying, one day not of studying, etc. Some people's balance might be study every day for a little bit in the morning, and then they can, they don't have to study in the afternoon. Some people's form of balance might be 4 days of like cram studying and then 3 days off. It could be anything. Those are just random examples. For me, as far as productivity goes, I wanted to put this screenshot in of what someone commented, just because it is really funny and it kind of does illustrate a lot of my personal life balance as far as productivity goes. Something I think a few people have commented on is how it's impressive how many videos I release often when I do have to balance that with learning Russian and my job and a bunch of other things. Someone commented, how do I post multiple videos in a day? I think it was on a day where I posted like 4 videos or 3 videos in one day. Yeah, 3 videos. I think I've done 4 before, so he didn't even pick the right video. But yeah, it's all good. Shout out to this guy. And we basically had a little chat about what happened. I think I said back in the day, because this was an older video, I think I just posted them all in one day when I bulk recorded. But yeah, the point is, my personal balance is I'll wake up some days and I'll literally have coffee and no food for the first 6 hours, and I'll make like 7 videos or whatever. And then I don't have to work for like the next 2 days. And so I can just do my normal, like my actual real life job. And I don't have to worry about making YouTube videos or anything like that. So that's my personal balance. Some people would see that as absolute torture. And that's the thing about balance. Somebody else's balance will seem like complete unbalance to you, or imbalance, whatever the word is. And to them, your version of balance might seem like it's completely whack. That's the thing about balance. It's unique to everyone. So the solution is to figure out how you personally balance. And if you still don't know what I mean by balance, I basically mean how you organize your life, how you run your life for maximum happiness, health, productivity towards goals, etc. And we're going to figure out what is best for you. We're going to implement it through organization. And we're going to do this on the next slide, but I will pre-warn you, I'm going to ask you to do a few actionable steps. So there's going to be some questions I want you to answer. I'd highly recommend you actually grab a pen and paper and write the answers down. But if you're just going to listen to this and do nothing, just click off, because it's not going to be useful for you. So if you're still here, I'm assuming you're in the top 1%. You actually do want to make progress as far as achieving balances goes. It's impossible to exist somewhere where you're uncomfortable. If I told you to lie down on a bunch of red hot coals, you wouldn't be able to do it. So if you don't actually do anything, obviously you're not uncomfortable with where you are and you don't actually want to be better at the language you're learning. And that's fine if that's you. But I think if you're here, you do have the right mindset. So I'm proud of you for that. Here is what you need to do to achieve balance in your life as far as language learning goes. The first thing I want you to do is to establish how important learning the language actually is to you. So 1 to 10, 1 being like dabbling, you don't even really care, 10 being crucial. I don't think if you're up watching this part of the video, I don't think you would be below a 5, because you're obviously invested in it. So for me, Russian is an 8. I'm not learning it for a specific person. It's not like I have a family member, and I don't need to go there for work. I don't actually intend to travel there for a little bit, because it might be a bit dangerous at the moment, but we'll see. But yeah, so Russian is like an 8. It's pretty cool. I have to do it because I'm running a channel. It would be like if a fitness influencer, stopped going to the gym. Like, I just have to be learning languages. But yeah, for me, it's an 8. Decide what it is for you. Is it really, really important? For some of you, it might be a 10. It might be even more important to you than learning a language is to me right now. For some of you, it might only be a 5. Just kind of establish what level it is. If you're learning multiple languages, just try and deal with that and decide which one's more important, that kind of thing. The second thing I want you to do, and by the way, I'd recommend you write all this down. I think I already said that, but it'll be so much more useful. If you actually write these things down, it'll help you with understanding what the best course of action for you to do is. The second thing I'm going to ask is, what are your other goals and how do they rank? So for me, my primary goal at the moment is not learning Russian, it's YouTube. My second goal is Russian, and my third goal is the gym. And you can give these a score if you want out of 10, so I'm just going to give YouTube a 10. Russian, I already gave an 8. And then gym, I'll give a 7.5. It's pretty close to Russian because I like the gym a lot. But yeah, just kind of decide what your big goals are at the moment. I wouldn't recommend having more than 3 big goals. Some people have like 17 big goals, and it's like you can't have 17 big goals. You've got 17 small goals. If you want to have 1, 2, or 3 big goals, that's fine. You can have a bunch of hobbies. Like for me, I'm writing a book at the moment. I'm doing a few other things. Those are all on the side. They're not as important. The third thing I want to ask you is, what is your disposable time? So by disposable time, I'm not talking about time that you spend scrolling that you can waste. I just kind of want you to figure out what your week is like at the moment as far as time goes. So you have 168 hours in a week. I want you to just take away sleep, job, chores, etc. And you will need a notepad and maybe a calculator for this. So if you're sleeping 8 hours a night, 8 times 7 is 56. Just figure out how much time you lose from sleep, your job, chores, etc. And you'll probably be surprised at how much free time you actually do have on a weekly basis. It'll probably be a few hours a day. And yeah, you can also see what habits are killable. This is a really good time to identify what habits are taking up your time that you maybe don't particularly enjoy that much. And if you can kill them to get more free time, it's up to you, but that could be good for you as well. And I just want you to decide how much time can you allocate to the language you're learning. You don't have to allocate 30 hours a week or something ridiculous like that. You can allocate 1 or 2 hours a week if you wanted to. At a minimum, I'd say try and do 3 hours a week. Ideally, you'd be doing something every single day. If you're doing an hour a day, you're killing it. If you're doing more than that, you're killing it twice. Like, just decide how much you want to do. It doesn't really matter, but it's just good to go into it with an idea of how much time you're actually willing to allocate. So that way, when you get frustrated, you can kind of see, okay, well, this is how much time I said I would put in. This is what's going to happen. The fourth thing I'm going to tell you to do, I'm not going to ask you, I'm going to tell you to do, is to get organized. So now that you know how important it is, you know where it stacks with your other goals, you know how much disposable time you have, you can get organized. So I want you to write down 3 problems in the language you're learning that need solving. So something I'd recommend you do is you grab your language learning notebook right now. If you don't have that, that's your first thing you need to do. Go grab a language learning notebook from the shops. You can get one that's like literally $3 and $3 Australian. So you can probably get one that's like £1 if you live in England. Or whatever. So get a language learning notebook, make a page, and name it the, what was the name, sorry? Problem solving to-do list, just something like that. And I want you to write down 3 problems that need solving in the language right now for you to make progress. So for example, you don't understand this verb form, just things you don't understand. It could be literally anything. And then you know the next thing you need to do in the foreign language. Then what I want you to do is to set a weekly task quota. So you know how much spare time you have at the moment. You know how much time you want to allocate to language learning. Say you want to allocate 4 hours a week to language learning as a random arbitrary number. That's 4 1-hour study sessions. If you want to, you can say, that's my quota for the week. I need to do 4 hours of studying. And then in those 4 hours of studying, you're going to spend them solving the problems that you've written down in your problem solving to-do list in your notebook. So the steps are pretty simple. It's set the tasks so you know what you need to do and you know when you need to do them because you set specific study times and how much you're going to study. You're going to execute, which means you actually do the things you write down, and then you claim the return on investment, because once you execute on the tasks that you've written down, you obviously get the return, which is that you now understand those things that you've written down in your problem solving list, and you can write more things down now. And then of course you can also reflect on it and journal to see what went wrong, what can you improve, how can you become a better learner. And it's pretty straightforward. That's literally all there is to achieving balance. If you want to do the first 3 days of the week, you want to do 4 hours of studying a day and do nothing else that's fun. You want to get home from work and just do studying for 3 hours, and that works for you. Honestly, go for it. Some people would say, oh, you know, that's bad for you. It's bad for your focus. Everyone's different. If that is literally good for your focus and that's how you work, do it. Do it if that's how you work. If you don't work like that and you absolutely hate the idea of doing it, don't do it. Never do that. If that's not what you want to do, don't do it. Do whatever works for you, and just journal on it if you're not sure. If you need any help as well, jump in the Discord. I'll have a link below. It's completely free, and you can talk to me as well, or you can comment down below if you want. But yeah, guys, that is basically the video. I definitely recommend you subscribe. If you want to check out the Language Learning Accelerator, that could be super useful as well. And yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good one.